It was just another ordinary morning when the millionaire opened his front door. There she was, a young pregnant black woman, homeless, huddled right at the entrance. Their eyes met. Silence hung heavy between two worlds that should never have crossed. Then he did something that no one, not even she, could have imagined. But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. Ethan Williams stared at the woman sitting on the hallway floor outside his penthouse door. Her pregnant belly pushed against a worn teal plaid blanket wrapped around her shoulders. Dark circles underlined her eyes, but her gaze was steady, challenging. "Excuse me?" Ethan glanced down the empty hallway of the Apex, Chicago's most exclusive address. No one else was around at 7:30 in the morning. "How did you get up to the 45th floor?" "I still had my delivery badge from yesterday." The woman, Maya Johnson, according to the Swift Deliveries badge still hanging around her neck, struggled to stand up. "Security knows me. They didn't realize I'd been fired yet." Ethan's mind flashed back to yesterday afternoon. This same woman delivering a package, him accusing her of bringing the wrong one, her trying to leave to check with her supervisor, his hand grabbing her arm. Her push that sent him stumbling backward into his marble side table, the small cut on his head that had fueled his angry call to her company. "You got fired because of me," Ethan said slowly, the reality of the situation sinking in. "Yes. And when Swift Deliveries fires you, they also kick you out of their employee housing immediately." Maya's voice was bitter but controlled. "I had nowhere else to go." Ethan checked his watch. He had a video conference in 30 minutes with investors from Tokyo. "Look, I'm sorry about what happened, but I'm not asking for much," Maya interrupted. "Just let me stay until the storm passes. I'll be gone by tomorrow." She pointed toward the floor-to-ceiling windows at the end of the hallway where heavy snow was falling over Chicago's skyline. Ethan hesitated. This wasn't his problem. He should call security. This woman was essentially trespassing. "Please," Maya added, softer now. "I'm 8 months pregnant. I have nowhere to go. The shelters are all full because of the storm." Something in her voice, not begging, but desperate nonetheless, made Ethan pause. Against his better judgment, he stepped aside. "Fine. Come in. But just until the storm passes." Maya's shoulders dropped with relief as she picked up a small backpack and walked into Ethan's penthouse. "Thank you." Her eyes widened as she took in the space, 6,000 square feet of luxury with panoramic views of snow-covered Chicago. Modern furniture, abstract art on the walls, a kitchen with appliances that looked never used. "You can sit there," Ethan pointed to a chair in the living room. "I have a meeting soon." Maya lowered herself carefully onto the edge of the chair. "I won't bother you." Ethan walked to his kitchen and poured himself coffee from his automated machine. His routine was off now. He always had breakfast at exactly 7:45, reviewed emails until 8:15, then prepared for his first meeting of the day. "Do you want water or something?" he asked, remembering his manners. "Water would be good." Maya kept the blanket wrapped tightly around her shoulders. "It's cold in here." "The temperature is set to exactly 70 degrees, Ethan replied defensively. Then he noticed she was wearing only a thin company uniform jacket over a t-shirt. "I'll turn up the heat." While adjusting the thermostat, Ethan studied Maya more carefully. 25 years old, according to her badge. Dark skin, curly black hair pulled back in a practical bun. Despite her situation, she sat straight, chin up, eyes alert. "How much money do you have?" Ethan asked bluntly as he handed her a glass of water. Maya reached into her pocket and pulled out a worn wallet. $147.32. She displayed the bills. "Everything I own is in this backpack except for some boxes in a storage unit I probably can't pay for next month." Ethan felt uncomfortable. He spent more than that on a single dinner. "What's your plan? After the storm, I mean." Maya's hand moved to her stomach as the baby kicked. Find another job. Find somewhere to stay. I've been in worse situations. When is the baby due? 4 weeks. She took a sip of water. Look, I don't expect anything from you except a warm place to wait out the blizzard. Then I'll be out of your way. Ethan's phone rang. His brother Luke's name flashed on the screen. Excuse me, Ethan said, walking to his home office for privacy. Luke, I need your advice. What's up? You never need advice, his brother teased. There's a pregnant woman in my living room. A pause. I'm going to need more information. Ethan explained the situation in hushed tones. So you complained and got a pregnant woman fired and homeless during a blizzard? Luke summarized. Not your finest moment, bro. I didn't know she'd lose her housing, Ethan defended himself. Just call security and have her removed, Luke suggested. Or is that too cold even for you? Ethan peeked out of his office. Maya was standing by the window watching the snow, one hand on her belly. Something about the image made his chest tighten uncomfortably. I can't do that, he admitted. She has nowhere to go. Wow, you have a heart after all. Luke sounded genuinely surprised. What are you going to do? Let her stay until the storm passes, I guess. Need me to come over? Number, it's just for one night. Ethan ended the call and returned to the living room. Maya had moved away from the window and was looking at a framed certificate on his wall. Harvard Business School, she read. Impressive. Thank you, Ethan said stiffly. I need to prepare for my meeting. Make yourself comfortable, but please don't touch anything important. Maya raised an eyebrow. I'll try to control myself around your priceless possessions. Ethan retreated to his home office, closing the door. His Tokyo investors wouldn't wait. Still, he found himself distracted, the presence of a stranger in his home disrupting his concentration. After his meeting, Ethan emerged to find Maya asleep on the chair, blanket pulled tight around her. She looked exhausted. On the coffee table was his mail, neatly sorted into piles. Bills, business correspondence, advertisements. I organized your mail, Maya said, eyes still closed. Hope that wasn't too important to touch. Ethan checked his watch, 11:15. You didn't have to do that. I like organizing things. Helps me think. Maya opened her eyes. Do you have any food? I'm eating for 2. Ethan realized he hadn't considered this. I can order delivery. In this weather? Maya gestured to the windows where the snow was now coming down in thick sheets. Your delivery person would end up like me, homeless on someone's doorstep. Ethan checked his refrigerator, finding only protein shakes and expired yogurt. He rarely ate at home. I'll check the weather report, he said, pulling out his phone. His stomach dropped as he read the update. The storm has intensified. They're saying it might last 3 days. Maya's face fell. 3 days? But you said just overnight. That was the original forecast. Ethan ran a hand through his perfectly styled dark hair. Look, this isn't ideal for either of us. I can try to find somewhere else, Maya offered, though they both knew there was nowhere for her to go. Ethan surprised himself with his next words. You can stay in my home office. There's a couch that converts to a bed. Are you sure? Maya studied his face. No, Ethan admitted. But I can't send you back out there. For the first time, Maya smiled slightly. Thank you. That evening, after an awkward meal of canned soup Ethan found in the back of his pantry, he made up the office couch with sheets and a pillow. Bathroom is down the hall, he explained. I wake up at 6:30 every morning. I'll stay out of your way, Maya promised, sitting on the edge of the makeshift bed. Ethan paused at the door. Good night, Maya. Good night, Ethan. In his bedroom, Ethan lay awake listening to the howling wind outside. The weather app on his phone showed the storm had upgraded to a full blizzard, now expected to last at least 3 days. His one-night act of charity had just become much more complicated. In the office, Maya whispered to her unborn baby, "Just a few days, little one, then we'll figure something out." Neither of them knew that something would change both their lives forever. The blizzard howled against the windows as Ethan checked the weather report again the next morning. Still 3 more days of snow predicted. He sighed, adjusting his blue silk tie in the mirror. Working from home wasn't his preference, but the streets of Chicago were completely buried. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. "Come in," he called. Maya peeked around the door, her hair tied back in the same practical bun from yesterday. "Good morning. I wasn't sure if I should stay in the office since you might need to work there." "I'll use the dining table today," Ethan replied, checking his watch. 7:35. His morning schedule was already disrupted. "Did you sleep okay?" "As well as anyone can at 8 months pregnant," Maya said, her hand resting on her stomach. "Your couch is much better than a hallway floor." An awkward silence filled the space between them. "Are you hungry?" Ethan finally asked. "I usually have a protein shake, but I could order groceries for you." Maya followed him to the kitchen. "You can get groceries delivered in this weather? I pay extra for priority service." Ethan opened his laptop. "What do you need?" "Just some bread, eggs, maybe fruit. I don't want to impose more than I already am." Ethan ordered a full selection of groceries while Maya explored the kitchen, opening cabinets and drawers. "You don't cook much, do you?" she observed, noting the pristine state of his pots and pans. "I eat out, or order in." Ethan set up his laptop at the dining table. "I have meetings all day. Make yourself comfortable, but I need quiet." Maya nodded. "I'll find something to do." For the next 2 hours, Ethan immersed himself in video calls while Maya sat by the window, watching the snow. The grocery delivery arrived and she quietly put everything away, moving around the penthouse like a shadow. During a break between meetings, Ethan found Maya organizing his bookshelf. "What are you doing?" he asked sharply. "Sorry," Maya stepped back. "I get restless. I rearranged them by subject, then alphabetically by author." Ethan examined the shelf. His business books were now perfectly arranged. "It's fine," he said, softening his tone. "Just ask before touching my things." "Sure." Maya returned to the window. "How much longer will you be working?" "Until 6 o'clock. Why?" "Just wondering when I should make myself scarce." Ethan frowned. "You don't need to—" His phone rang. Chloe's name flashed on the screen. "I need to take this," he said, walking to his bedroom. "Hey, babe." Chloe's voice was cheerful. "I'm coming over tonight. This storm is so boring and Daddy's driver can get through the snow. I'll bring dinner from Martino's. Be there around 7. Ethan's stomach dropped. "Tonight isn't great, Chloe. I have a lot of work and—" "Don't be silly. I'm already having the food prepared. See you at 7. She hung up before he could protest. Ethan rushed back to the living room where Maya was flipping through a magazine. "I have a problem," he said. "My girlfriend is coming over tonight." Maya looked up. "Oh, should I hide in the office?" "Yes. Number I don't know." Ethan ran a hand through his hair. "She's bringing dinner. She'll want to stay the night." "I can try to find somewhere else," Maya offered, though they both knew there was nowhere to go in the blizzard. Ethan paced the room. "This is a disaster. Chloe can't find you here. She'll completely misunderstand." "You could tell her the truth," Maya suggested. "That I got you fired and homeless, then let you stay out of guilt? That would go over well." Maya shrugged. "Your other option is hiding me like a dirty secret." Ethan's phone rang again. "Luke." "Luke, I need your help," Ethan said immediately. "Wow, twice in 2 days. I'm honored," Luke laughed. "What's up?" "Chloe's coming over tonight and Maya is still here." "The pregnant delivery woman? I thought she'd be gone by now. The storm got worse. She has nowhere to go." Luke was quiet for a moment. "I'm coming over. We'll figure something out." An hour later, Luke arrived, snow covering his shoulders. Unlike his brother's tailored appearance, Luke wore jeans and a Chicago Bears sweatshirt, his dark hair longer and less controlled. "So this is Maya," Luke said, extending his hand. "I'm the less uptight Williams brother." Maya smiled, shaking his hand. "Nice to meet you." "Luke, this isn't a social call," Ethan interrupted. Chloe will be here in 3 hours. Luke dropped onto the couch. Relax, I have a plan. Maya is our cousin. What? Ethan and Maya said simultaneously. Distant cousin from Mom's side. From, where are you from originally, Maya? On Springfield, Illinois, she replied. Perfect. From Springfield. Staying with you temporarily because her apartment building had a fire. Ethan considered this. Chloe knows I don't have cousins in Springfield. Second cousin once removed, Luke amended. From the Jenkins side of the family. Mom's maiden name, he explained to Maya. Maya looked doubtful. Will she believe that? She will if we sell it right, Luke insisted. Ethan, call her back and warn her I'm here too with our cousin. Family emergency, very sad situation. Ethan made the call, explaining to Chloe that their cousin needed temporary housing. You never mentioned a cousin before, Chloe said suspiciously. She's a distant relative. Mom would have wanted us to help. Mentioning their deceased mother worked. Chloe agreed to still come over but would bring extra food. At exactly 7 o'clock, the elevator dinged. Chloe Peterson entered the penthouse in designer boots and a white fur coat carrying bags from Martino's. Tall, blonde, and polished, she surveyed the room like she owned it. Ethan, darling. She kissed him briefly, then turned to Luke. Luke, always a pleasure. Her eyes landed on Maya, who wore borrowed clothes from Luke, sweatpants and a t-shirt that somewhat disguised her pregnancy. And you must be the cousin. I'm Chloe. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Maya Jenkins, Maya replied, using the fake last name. Thank you for including me in dinner plans. They ate at Ethan's dining table, Chloe dominating the conversation with stories about her father's banking firm and complaints about the storm. Maya spoke little, answering direct questions about her fictional background with carefully vague responses. So how long will you be staying with Ethan? Chloe asked finally. Just until I find a new place, Maya replied. After the storm passes. Which could be days, Luke added quickly. The weather report says this is the worst blizzard in 10 years. Chloe frowned. Well, I was planning to stay tonight, Ethan. An uncomfortable silence fell over the table. Actually, Luke said, the roads are getting worse. Dad's calling for another family meeting tomorrow about Mom's foundation. We should all head out now while it's still safe. But your driver could come back for me tomorrow, Chloe protested. The forecast shows possible power outages, Luke insisted. Better not risk it. After more convincing, Chloe reluctantly agreed to leave. At the door, she kissed Ethan possessively. Call me tomorrow, she demanded, and we need to talk about our Valentine's Day plans soon. When she was gone, Ethan collapsed on the couch. That was close. She's suspicious, Maya noted. She doesn't believe I'm your cousin. No kidding, Luke agreed. You two need a better story. After Luke left, an uncomfortable silence filled the penthouse. I should call some friends, Maya said. See if anyone can take me in after the storm. Ethan watched as she made call after call, each ending with disappointment. No one had space for a pregnant woman with no job prospects. No luck? He asked when she put her phone down. My best friend Nina would help, but she lives in a studio apartment and commutes 2 hours to work. It wouldn't be practical. Maya's voice wavered slightly. I'll figure something out. Ethan found himself saying, You can stay until you find something suitable. Maya looked surprised. Really? What about Chloe? We'll deal with that problem later. Ethan noticed Maya organizing his work calendar on his tablet. What are you doing now? Your schedule was a mess. You had 3 meetings at the same time next Tuesday. Instead of being angry, Ethan found himself impressed. You fixed it? I rearranged things to maximize your productive hours. I noticed you get more done in the morning. Maya showed him the updated calendar. Is this okay? Ethan examined her work. The schedule was more efficient than his assistant had ever managed. This is really good, he admitted. Later that night, as Ethan prepared for bed, His phone pinged with a notification from his building's front desk. "Mr. Williams, your dry cleaning has arrived, and Miss Peterson asked me to notify her when you're receiving visitors." Ethan stared at the message, a new complication in an already complex situation. Chloe was having him watched. Ethan stared at his phone in disbelief. Chloe was having the front desk track his visitors. He showed the message to Maya, who was arranging her few belongings in the guest bathroom. "That's concerning," Maya said, frowning at the notification. "She's watching your building?" "Apparently." Ethan deleted the message. "We need to be careful about who comes and goes." The next morning, Ethan woke to the smell of coffee. In the kitchen, Maya stood at the stove, carefully flipping pancakes. "You didn't have to cook," Ethan said, checking his watch. 7:15, still snowing outside. "I was awake anyway. The baby likes to kick at 5 in the morning." Maya slid a plate toward him. "You have real food now. Might as well use it." Ethan took a bite. "These are good. Basic survival skill." Maya sat across from him with her own plate. "I was thinking about your visitor problem. Maybe we should make a plan for when people come over." Over breakfast, they established ground rules. Maya would stay in the office when Chloe visited. Ethan would give advance notice before bringing anyone home. They would maintain the cousin story for now. As January progressed, they settled into an unexpected routine. Each morning, Maya made breakfast while Ethan prepared for work. During the day, she kept the penthouse organized while he attended meetings. In the evenings, they shared quiet dinners, carefully avoiding personal topics. One afternoon, 2 weeks after Maya's arrival, the doorbell rang. "I'm not expecting anyone," Ethan said, looking up from his laptop. Maya peered through the peephole. "It's a woman with purple hair." "Nina!" Maya opened the door to a short woman with bright purple hair and glasses. They hugged awkwardly around Maya's pregnant belly. "Look at you!" Nina exclaimed. "You're huge!" "Thanks for the reminder," Maya laughed. "Come in. This is Ethan Williams, my temporary landlord." Nina gave Ethan a cold look. "So you're the one who got Maya fired." "Nina, please," Maya warned. "He's letting me stay here." "How generous of him," Nina said sarcastically. "After causing the problem in the first place." Ethan shifted uncomfortably. "I'll give you some privacy." He retreated to his bedroom. Through the door, he heard their hushed conversation. "Are you crazy?" Nina was saying. "Living with some rich guy who treated you like garbage?" "I didn't have options," Maya defended. "The storm lasted almost a week. By then, I had nowhere else to go." "You could come stay with me." "In your tiny studio with a 2-hour commute each way, while 8 months pregnant? It's better than being dependent on him. Men like him don't change, and they don't date girls like us." "Who said anything about dating?" Maya's voice rose slightly. "It's temporary. I'm saving every dollar I can." When Ethan emerged later, Nina was preparing to leave. "Take care of yourself, Maya," Nina said, hugging her friend. To Ethan, her tone cooled. "And you? If you hurt her again, I'll find you." After Nina left, Maya sighed. "Sorry about that. She's protective." "She's a good friend," Ethan replied. "You should keep people like that around." The next day, Ethan came home visibly stressed. He tossed his briefcase onto the counter and loosened his tie. "Bad day?" Maya asked from the couch where she was reading. "The worst. My company is trying to secure a deal with National Medical Supply. If we get it, our shipping platform expands to 17 states. If we lose it, our growth stalls." "Sounds important." "It's everything." Ethan grabbed a bottle of water from the fridge. "Where's my blue folder?" "I left it right here." "I put it in your office with your other work papers." "Don't touch my work things," Ethan snapped. "I had a system." Maya stood up, her eyes narrowing. "A system? Your papers were scattered across 3 different surfaces. I organized them by project in labeled folders." "That's not how I work." Well, maybe you should. Your system is chaos. No wonder you're struggling with this deal. Ethan stepped closer. You know nothing about my business. I know more than you think, Maya shot back. I delivered to National Medical Supply for 2 years. I know their receiving process, their pain points, and what their staff complains about most. This stopped Ethan short. What do they complain about? Their current shipping platform doesn't integrate with their inventory system. Drivers have to manually enter confirmation codes, which causes delays and errors. Maya crossed her arms. If your platform could solve that, they'd sign with you immediately. Ethan stared at her. How do you know this? Delivery people hear things. We're invisible to most clients, so they talk freely around us. Maya sat back down. But what do I know? I'm just the pregnant woman you're housing out of guilt. Ethan was quiet for a long moment. I'm sorry for snapping at you. I'm under a lot of pressure. I understand pressure, Maya said. I've been supporting myself since I was 16. Tell me more about National Medical Supplies issues, Ethan said, sitting beside her. For the next hour, Maya shared insights from her delivery experience. Ethan took notes, his initial anger forgotten. This could be exactly what we need, he said finally. Thank you. The next day, Luke arrived carrying grocery bags. Special delivery for the mom-to-be, he announced, setting the bags on the counter. Pregnancy superfoods according to my physical therapy colleague who specializes in prenatal care. Maya examined the contents. Spinach, berries, salmon? This is really thoughtful, Luke. How's the cousin charade holding up? Luke asked, helping Maya unpack the groceries. We've only had to use it once more when Chloe stopped by unannounced, Ethan replied. But she's getting suspicious. You need a better backstory, Luke suggested, complete with embarrassing childhood details only family would know. Like what? Maya asked. Luke grinned mischievously. Like how Ethan wet his pants during his 5th grade spelling bee. Luke! Ethan protested. Or how he had an imaginary friend named Mr. Business who wore a tie. Maya laughed. You're making that up. I wish I was, Luke said. He used to set a place at the dinner table for Mr. Business. I was 7, Ethan defended himself, but he was smiling slightly. Over the next few days, Luke visited regularly, bringing pregnancy vitamins and telling Maya more stories about Ethan's childhood. These visits became bright spots in their routine, bringing laughter to the penthouse. One evening, as Maya and Ethan ate dinner, his phone rang. Chloe again. I'm coming over, she announced. I need to see you. 20 minutes later, Chloe arrived in a red dress, her lips matching. Surprise! I missed you. Maya had just managed to hide in the office when Chloe walked in. Ethan, darling, you've been so busy lately. Chloe kissed him. Is your cousin still here? It's been weeks. Yes, she's resting. The pregnancy is difficult. Chloe frowned. Pregnant? You didn't mention that before. Ethan realized his mistake too late. Did I not? It must have slipped my mind. So your pregnant cousin is living with you indefinitely? Chloe's voice sharpened. That's quite generous. Family is important, Ethan said weakly. Speaking of family, Chloe continued, Daddy wants to meet your family before we make any announcements. I was thinking a dinner next month. Announcements? Ethan repeated. For our engagement, silly. Chloe twirled a strand of hair. We've been together 2 years. It's time, don't you think? After Chloe finally left, Maya emerged from the office. Engagement? She's been hinting at it for months, Ethan admitted. I've been avoiding the conversation. Why? She's beautiful from your social circle and clearly wants to marry you. Ethan sighed. On paper, Chloe is perfect. In reality. You don't love her, Maya finished. I don't know if I love anyone, Ethan said quietly. I've been focused on work for so long. The next morning, Maya suggested they create a detailed backstory to avoid more slip-ups with Chloe. We need to get our facts straight. she said, making notes. How are we related exactly? Second cousins. Your mother was my mother's cousin, Ethan decided. What was my mother's name? Sarah Jenkins. She married a Johnson. As they built their fictional family connection, they shared real details about their lives. Ethan described growing up in Boston with his controlling father. Maya talked about moving between foster homes after her parents died. 7 different homes in 10 years, she said. I learned to pack light and not get attached. Is that why you organize my penthouse? A way to control your environment? Maya nodded. When everything around you changes constantly, creating order helps. That night, Ethan lay awake thinking about Maya's insights that might save his business deal. His phone lit up with a text from National Medical Supply. We'd like to meet tomorrow to discuss your new integration proposal. Ethan smiled in the darkness. Maybe having Maya in his life wasn't just charity after all. That night, he found himself searching online for what to expect in the 8th month of pregnancy, and realized with a start that somewhere along the way, Maya had become more than just an inconvenient houseguest. The next morning, Ethan woke early to prepare for his meeting with National Medical Supply. He found Maya already in the kitchen making tea. "You're up early," she said, noticing his suit was more formal than usual. "Big meeting today. Your information about their integration problems might save this deal." Ethan poured coffee into his travel mug. "I probably won't be back until late. The office is all yours." After Ethan left, Maya continued her new routine of tidying the penthouse. In the past weeks, she had slowly transformed the space from a sterile showcase into something more livable. Coasters now protected the glass tables. Throw pillows added color to the leather sofa. Small touches that made the penthouse feel like a home. The phone rang at exactly 10 o'clock. Maya hesitated before answering. "Williams' residence," she said cautiously. "Who is this?" A cold male voice demanded. "Where is Ethan?" "He's at work. This is Maya, his cousin. May I take a message?" "Cousin? Ethan doesn't have cousins. This is his father, Richard Williams. Put Ethan on immediately." Maya swallowed hard. "I'm sorry, Mr. Williams, but Ethan truly isn't home. He has an important meeting today." "With National Medical Supply, yes, I know." Richard's voice was clipped. "Tell him to call me the moment he returns. This deal is crucial for the company's expansion. I'll let him know." "And whoever you really are," Richard added, "I suggest you don't answer his phone again." The line went dead, leaving Maya staring at the receiver. She placed it down slowly, unsettled by the encounter. When Ethan returned that evening, he was elated. His meeting had gone exceptionally well. "They loved our proposal for the integration fix," he announced, loosening his tie. "We're moving forward with the contract next week." "That's wonderful," Maya said, but her smile was strained. Ethan noticed immediately. "What's wrong?" "Your father called. He was not pleased to have me answer your phone." Ethan's good mood evaporated. "You spoke to my father?" "He demanded to know who I was. I used our cousin's story, but he didn't believe me." Ethan sat heavily on the sofa. "Of course he didn't. Richard Williams knows everything about everyone in his family. It's how he controls people." "He said to call him back immediately." "I'm sure he did." Ethan didn't move toward the phone. "What else did he say?" "That he knew about your meeting, and he made it clear I shouldn't be answering your phone." Ethan ran a hand through his hair. "I'm sorry you had to deal with him. He's very intense. That's putting it mildly." Ethan stood and paced the room. "My father tracks every business move I make. He treats my company like it's still his, even though he's never invested a penny." "Why does he care so much?" Ethan stopped pacing. "Control. After my mother died when I was 12, he controlled everything. Where Luke and I went to school, what we studied, who we befriended. I started my company to escape him." "That explains a lot," Maya said softly. "What does that mean?" "Why you're so organized, why you need everything in its place." Maya gestured around the penthouse. why you were so bothered when I started moving things." Ethan looked at her thoughtfully. "I never connected those dots before. Sometimes it takes an outsider to see patterns." Maya paused. "Are you going to call him back?" "Not tonight. Tonight, we're celebrating the deal." They ordered dinner from an expensive restaurant, and Ethan even opened a bottle of wine, pouring a small glass for himself and water for Maya. "To National Medical Supply," he toasted, "and to your insider knowledge that made it happen." The next morning, Chloe arrived unannounced, carrying coffee and pastries. "Surprise!" she called as she let herself in with her key. "I brought breakfast from that French place you love." Maya barely had time to retreat to the office before Chloe entered the kitchen. "You're still in pajamas?" Chloe frowned, eyeing Ethan's Harvard t-shirt and sweatpants. "That's not like you." "Late night working," Ethan explained, accepting the coffee. "The National Medical Supply deal is moving forward." "That's wonderful, darling," Chloe kissed him. "Is your cousin still here? I brought enough for everyone." "She's not feeling well today. The pregnancy, you know." Chloe's smile tightened. "Still, I'd like to say hello. We barely talked last time." Before Ethan could stop her, Chloe walked toward the office and knocked sharply. "Hello? It's Chloe. I brought breakfast." Maya opened the door, wearing leggings and one of Ethan's button-down shirts with the sleeves rolled up. "Good morning," Maya said politely. "That's very kind of you." Chloe's eyes narrowed at Maya's attire. "Is that Ethan's shirt?" "Mine don't fit anymore," Maya explained, gesturing to her belly. "Ethan was nice enough to lend me some." "How cozy." Chloe turned to Ethan. "I didn't realize your charity extended to your wardrobe." The three ate breakfast in uncomfortable silence until Chloe accidentally knocked over her wine-colored smoothie, splashing it across Maya's borrowed shirt and leggings. "Oh my goodness!" Chloe exclaimed with exaggerated concern. "How clumsy of me!" Maya stood quickly as the cold liquid soaked through the fabric. "It's fine. I'll change. Those stains might not come out," Chloe said, dabbing ineffectively at the table with a napkin. "Such a shame to ruin Ethan's nice shirt." Ethan watched the interaction with growing discomfort, but said nothing. After Maya left to change, Chloe smiled. "She seems very comfortable here. How much longer is this arrangement continuing?" "I'm not sure," Ethan replied. "Her situation is complicated." "Speaking of complicated," Chloe leaned forward, "my father is asking when you'll join us for dinner. He wants to discuss our future." When Chloe finally left, Maya emerged wearing her last clean outfit, a stretched maternity shirt and yoga pants. "I need to get more clothes," she said, looking at the stained items. "Those were my only good leggings." Ethan avoided her eyes. "I'm sorry about that. Chloe can be—" "You could have said something," Maya interrupted. "When she spilled her drink on purpose, you don't know it was on purpose." "Really? You believe that was an accident?" Ethan sighed. "What was I supposed to say?" "Anything. You just sat there." Maya shook her head. "I'm going to call Nina. I need her to bring my stuff from storage." 2 days later, Nina arrived with several plastic bins containing Maya's belongings. As Maya sorted through them in the guest room, Nina cornered Ethan in the kitchen. "We need to talk," she said firmly. "What exactly are your intentions with Maya?" "Intentions?" Ethan repeated. "I'm helping her until she finds a new place." "For almost a month now," Nina pointed out. "She's organizing your home, cooking your meals, answering your phone. It looks like something else from the outside." "It's not like that," Ethan insisted. "Maya needed help. I provided it." "And when she has the baby? When she's even more vulnerable? What then?" Before Ethan could answer, Luke arrived, letting himself in with his key. "Hey, I brought prenatal vitamins and—" He stopped, sensing the tension. "Everything okay?" "Nina thinks I have ulterior motives for helping Maya," Ethan explained. Luke considered this. "My brother has many flaws, but taking advantage of pregnant women isn't one of them." "Thank you, I think," Ethan said. "Speaking of pregnancy," Luke continued, Maya mentioned her doctor is now out of network since she lost her insurance. She needs a prenatal checkup this week. I'll pay for it, Ethan offered immediately. Better idea, Luke suggested. Take her yourself. My colleague, Dr. Mitchell at Northwestern Memorial, takes walk-ins on Thursdays. The next day, Ethan found himself in a waiting room surrounded by expectant parents. Maya sat beside him, filling out forms. Insurance information? She asked quietly. Put mine, Ethan replied. I already called. They'll cover you as a household member. The nurse called Maya's name, and Ethan automatically stood to join her. You don't have to come in, Maya said. I want to, Ethan replied, surprising himself with his sincerity. Inside the examination room, Dr. Mitchell greeted them warmly. So, how are Mom and Dad holding up? Not long now, just about 4 weeks to go. Neither corrected her assumption as she checked Maya's blood pressure. A bit elevated, Doctor, Mitchell noted. Have you been under stress lately? Maya laughed nervously. Just a little. Well, Dad, the doctor turned to Ethan, make sure she rests more, and both of you should start preparing for the big day. After the appointment, they stopped at a bookstore where Ethan bought several books on pregnancy and newborn care. You don't have to do all this, Maya said as they returned to the penthouse. I know, Ethan replied. I want to. That night, Maya found Ethan asleep on the couch, a pregnancy book open on his chest. She carefully removed the book and placed a blanket over him, pausing to study his face, relaxed in sleep in a way it never was when he was awake. As she hung her few salvaged clothes in the small section of closet Ethan had cleared for her, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I know you're not his cousin, and I can prove it. Chloe. Maya stared at the text message, her hands shaking slightly. Chloe knew they were lying. She showed the phone to Ethan, who had just woken up on the couch. She's bluffing, Ethan said, though his voice lacked conviction. She has no proof. What if she does? Maya paced the living room. What if she tells everyone? I don't care about me, but your reputation, my reputation will survive. Ethan sat up straighter. Let's not panic. I have business partners coming for dinner tomorrow night. We'll deal with Chloe after that. The next day, Maya helped prepare for the dinner meeting. She arranged platters from the catering service while Ethan set up presentation materials in the dining room. Are you sure I shouldn't stay in the office? Maya asked, smoothing down the maternity dress Nina had brought from storage. No need, Ethan replied. These are business associates, not friends. I'll introduce you as a family member who's helping with my schedule. That's basically true. At 7 o'clock, the doorbell rang. 4 executives from National Medical Supply arrived, all in dark suits except for one woman in a gray pantsuit. Ethan introduced them to Maya as planned. This is Maya, my cousin who's been helping organize my chaotic schedule, he said smoothly. Dinner progressed well, with conversation focused on the new shipping integration. Maya remained quiet until James Parker, the head of operations, mentioned delivery problems. Our biggest issue is tracking accuracy, James said, cutting his steak. Packages get marked as delivered when they're still sitting in warehouses. Maya actually had some insights about that, Ethan said, surprising everyone at the table. She worked in deliveries before. All eyes turned to Maya, who spoke hesitantly at first. The problem is partly the handheld scanners, she explained. They often lose connection in certain buildings, especially medical facilities with interference from equipment. Drivers mark items delivered early because they know the scan won't go through at the actual delivery point. James looked impressed. That's exactly what happens. How would you fix it? Use Bluetooth beacons at delivery points, Maya suggested. They're cheap and can confirm location without cellular connection. The executives exchanged looks of interest just as the front door opened. Chloe walked in wearing a tight black dress, her blonde hair perfectly styled. Sorry, I'm late, darling, she announced, walking directly to Ethan and kissing him on the cheek. Traffic was terrible. Ethan's face froze. Chloe, I didn't know you were coming. I texted your assistant, she lied smoothly. Everyone, I'm Chloe Peterson, Ethan's girlfriend. Ethan made quick introductions while Maya quietly began clearing plates. Throughout dessert, Chloe made subtle comments aimed at Maya. "It's so nice of Ethan to help family in need," she said sweetly. "He has such a charitable heart, especially for distant relatives he barely knows." When James asked Maya more questions about delivery protocols, Chloe interrupted. "I'm sure the executives don't need advice from temporary delivery staff," she said with a tight smile. "Ethan's presentation covers everything professionally." Despite Chloe's interruptions, the meeting ended successfully. The executives were clearly impressed with both the proposal and Maya's practical insights. "Your cousin has a good head for operations," James told Ethan at the door. "You should bring her to the contract signing next week." After the guests left, Chloe's pleasant facade vanished. "What was that?" she demanded. "You're parading your pregnant charity case in front of business partners now?" "She's not a charity case," Ethan replied calmly, "and her insights are valuable." "Valuable?" Chloe laughed coldly. "A delivery girl giving business advice to executives? You're making yourself look foolish. Maya understands the practical side of shipping better than anyone at my company." Chloe's eyes narrowed. "Maya? Not my cousin anymore? What's really going on here, Ethan?" "Nothing is going on," Ethan insisted. "She needed help. I provided it." "For over a month?" Chloe walked to the bar and poured herself a drink. "People are talking, you know, wondering why Ethan Williams suddenly has a pregnant woman living with him. I don't care what people say." "You should." Chloe spotted a chess trophy on Ethan's bookshelf. "Harvard chess champion. Remind me when you won this?" "Senior year," Ethan replied. "Why?" "Just wondering if you're still the strategic genius you were then." Chloe picked up the trophy, examining it. "Because right now your moves make no sense. Put that down, please. It's important to me." "More important than us? Than our future?" Chloe's voice rose. "My father is expecting an engagement announcement, Ethan. Instead, you're playing house with her." "I'm not playing anything," Ethan said firmly. "And I never agreed to an engagement. 2 years together means nothing? My connections for your business mean nothing? That's not fair. I never used your connections. But you use her?" Chloe gestured toward the kitchen where Maya was loading the dishwasher, pretending not to hear. "A pregnant nobody with no job and no prospects?" "Stop it, Chloe. No, you stop it." Chloe's grip tightened on the trophy. "End this ridiculous arrangement. Come back to reality. To me." "I think you should leave," Ethan said quietly. "Not until you promise she'll be gone by the weekend." "I can't do that." "Can't or won't?" Chloe's face flushed with anger. "You've changed, Ethan, and not for the better." With a sudden motion, she hurled the chess trophy against the wall. It shattered, pieces of marble and metal scattering across the hardwood floor. The sound brought Luke rushing in from the hallway. He had arrived moments earlier, using his key to enter quietly. "Whoa! What's happening?" Luke looked from the broken trophy to Chloe's angry face. "Stay out of this, Luke," Chloe snapped. "This is between me and your brother." "You need to calm down," Luke said, stepping between them. "Don't tell me to calm down." Chloe shoved Luke hard, making him stumble backward into the coffee table. "That's enough." Ethan's voice was sharp. "You don't get to come into my home and act like this. We're done." "Done?" Chloe laughed bitterly. "You're choosing them over me?" "I'm choosing not to be with someone who treats people this way," Ethan replied. "Please leave." "Now, you'll regret this," Chloe warned, grabbing her purse. "When she takes everything you have, you'll remember I warned you." After Chloe slammed the door behind her, the penthouse fell silent. Maya emerged from the kitchen, her face pale. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "This is all because of me." Ethan knelt to pick up pieces of his broken trophy. "No, it's not. This was coming for a long time. Chloe and I want different things." Luke rubbed his arm where he'd hit the table. "She's always been controlling, but that was next level." "Has she pushed you before?" Maya asked. Ethan paused. Not physically, but emotionally. All the time. I just never saw it clearly until now. They cleaned up the broken trophy together, Maya carefully gathering the smallest pieces. This meant a lot to you, she said. It was just a reminder of a time when I felt in control, Ethan replied. Maybe I needed to let that go. Later that evening, Maya received a phone call that made her face light up, then fall. That was Steve from Premier Delivery, she told Ethan after hanging up. They're offering me a dispatcher position. That's great news, Luke exclaimed. In Indianapolis, Maya added quietly, starting next month after the baby comes. The room grew silent. Indianapolis is far, Ethan finally said. 5 hours by car, Maya nodded, but it's a good job with benefits and housing assistance. Are you going to take it? Luke asked. I should. It's the responsible choice. Maya looked down at her hands. I need to think about the baby now. That night, as if echoing the emotional storm inside the penthouse, an actual storm hit Chicago. Wind howled around the building, and at 11:15 the lights flickered and went out. Power's gone in the whole neighborhood, Luke announced, checking his phone. They're saying it might be hours. Ethan found candles in the kitchen, placing them around the living room. The three of them sat in the soft glow, the city dark beyond the windows. Remember when we lost power as kids? Luke asked Ethan. Dad was away as usual. Mom made us hot chocolate and told ghost stories. I remember, Ethan smiled slightly. She made everything feel safe, even in the dark. What was she like? Maya asked quietly. Warm, kind, nothing like my father. Ethan's face softened in the candlelight. She taught piano at the conservatory, always humming something. She would have liked you, Luke told Maya. She had a thing for strays. I'm not a stray, Maya protested. No, you're not, Ethan agreed seriously. You're one of the strongest people I've ever met. As Luke dozed off on the couch, Ethan and Maya continued talking softly. How many foster homes did you say you lived in? Ethan asked. 7. Some were okay. Most weren't. Maya traced patterns on the arm of her chair. The worst part was never belonging anywhere, always being temporary. Is that why you organized my penthouse, making a space yours even briefly? Maya nodded. It's a habit, creating order when everything feels uncertain. And now, with the baby coming? Now I'm terrified, Maya admitted. I always thought I'd have things figured out before becoming a mother. A home. Stability. You'll be an amazing mother, Ethan said with unexpected conviction. You've survived everything life has thrown at you. What about you? Maya asked. You have everything. Success, money, this beautiful home. But you seem lonely. Ethan was quiet for a long moment. I built walls to keep my father out. Ended up keeping everyone else out, too. Not everyone, Maya said softly. Luke got through. And now... The power suddenly returned, lights flooding the penthouse. They blinked in the brightness, the intimate moment broken. Ethan stood and began extinguishing candles. It's late. We should get some sleep. Later, they stood together on the balcony, looking at the city lights now restored across Chicago. The storm had passed, leaving the air clear and cold. I don't want you to go to Indianapolis, Ethan said suddenly. What? Maya turned to him, surprised. I know it's selfish. I know you need that job, but... Ethan struggled for words. These past weeks with you here, it's been... Maya felt the baby kick hard and instinctively grabbed Ethan's hand, placing it on her belly. His eyes widened as he felt the movement. That's amazing, he whispered. They stood close, his hand still on her stomach, something unspoken passing between them. Ethan leaned forward slightly, his eyes dropping to her lips. Then his phone rang. Chloe's name flashed on the screen, demanding to be answered. Ethan stared at his ringing phone. Chloe's name flashed on the screen like a warning. "You should answer it," Maya said, stepping back, her arms wrapping around her belly as if protecting the baby from the interruption. Ethan declined the call and put his phone on silent. "I'm done with that." The moment between them had passed, but something had changed. They went inside without speaking further, both aware of the invisible line they had almost crossed. The next morning, Ethan called Chloe. "We need to talk," he said firmly. "Can we meet for coffee?" They agreed to meet at a downtown cafe at noon. Before leaving, Ethan found Maya in the kitchen. "I'm meeting Chloe to end things properly," he told her. "No more confusion, no more games." Maya nodded. "That's good. Clear boundaries are important." The cafe was busy with lunch customers when Ethan arrived. Chloe was already seated, looking polished in a cream-colored coat. "I wasn't sure you'd actually show up," she said as Ethan sat down. "We need to talk face to face," Ethan replied. "What happened last night was a mistake," Chloe interrupted. "I lost my temper. The trophy was an accident." "It wasn't just the trophy, Chloe. It's everything. We want different things." Chloe's perfect smile faltered. "Is this about her? That pregnant girl playing house in your penthouse?" "This is about us," Ethan said firmly. "We don't work together. We never really did." 2 years, Ethan. 2 years of my life I invested in you. We both know it was more about appearances than feelings." Chloe leaned forward. "If you choose someone like Maya over me, you'll regret it. My father has connections throughout Chicago business circles." "I'm not choosing anyone over you. I'm choosing myself," Ethan said. "For the first time in my life, I'm making decisions that aren't about appearances or expectations." "You'll come crawling back," Chloe warned, gathering her purse, "when you realize that girl and her baby are dragging you down." "Goodbye, Chloe." Ethan felt lighter as he left the cafe, as if he'd put down a heavy weight he'd been carrying too long. When he returned to the penthouse, delicious smells greeted him. Maya stood in the kitchen, stirring something on the stove. "What's all this?" Ethan asked, surprised. "A thank you dinner," Maya explained. "For everything you've done for me. Luke brought groceries earlier." The dining table was set with Ethan's rarely used dishes and a small vase of flowers. "You didn't have to do this," Ethan said. "I wanted to." Maya brought a steaming dish to the table. "It's nothing fancy, just chicken with herbs, the way my third foster mom taught me." They ate together, the conversation easier than ever before. "How did it go with Chloe?" Maya finally asked. "It's over," Ethan replied. "Completely this time. I'm sorry if I caused problems." "You didn't cause anything. You just helped me see what was already there." Ethan paused. "How did your call with Premier Delivery go? Are you taking the Indianapolis job?" Maya pushed food around her plate. "I told them I needed time to think. The baby is due in less than 4 weeks. Moving right after giving birth seems difficult." "What would you do if money and housing weren't issues?" Ethan asked. Maya looked up, surprised by the question. "I'd start my own delivery service." "Really?" "Yes. One that treats drivers better, provides proper benefits, flexible schedules for parents." Maya's eyes brightened as she spoke. "I've seen how all the big companies work. They all have the same problems. Overworked drivers, bad technology, no support for parents. You've really thought about this." "Just a dream," Maya shrugged. "It takes money to start a business." "Not as much as you might think," Ethan said, suddenly interested. "With the right investors, a focused business plan, you sound like you're taking my silly idea seriously." "It's not silly at all. It's brilliant." Ethan leaned forward. "The delivery market has huge problems. You understand them better than anyone." They spent the next hour discussing possibilities. Maya described her vision while Ethan asked questions about operations and potential clients. "I know investors who would be interested," Ethan said finally. "People who care about social impact as well as profit." Maya shook her head in disbelief. "You really think it could work?" "I know it could." The next day, Ethan surprised Maya with an announcement. "Get your coat. We're going out." "Out where?" Maya asked, confused. "You've been in Chicago for over a month and haven't seen anything beyond this penthouse. Time for a proper tour." Despite the February cold, they spent the day exploring the city. Ethan took Maya to Millennium Park to see the famous Cloud Gate sculpture, then to the Art Institute where he surprised her with his knowledge of Impressionist paintings. "I didn't know you liked art," Maya said as they stood before a Monet. "My mother loved these," Ethan admitted. "She brought Luke and me here every month." They ended their tour at Navy Pier, nearly empty in the winter cold. "It's beautiful," Maya said, looking at the frozen lake and the city skyline. "Thank you for today. Thank you for reminding me there's a world outside my office," Ethan replied. As they walked, their hands brushed together several times. Neither pulled away. When they returned to the penthouse, they found Luke and Nina in the kitchen, making dinner together. "There you are!" Luke exclaimed. "We were about to call." "What are you two doing here?" Ethan asked, noticing how comfortable they seemed together. Nina blushed slightly. "Luke asked me to dinner, but we decided to cook here instead." "We're dating," Luke announced proudly. "Thanks to you two. I ran into Nina at the coffee shop near your building last week." "You're dating?" Maya looked from Nina to Luke in surprise. "Don't act so shocked," Nina laughed. "He's cute, and he knows all about physical therapy for pregnant women. Very useful friend to have." "More than friends now," Luke corrected, putting his arm around Nina's shoulders. The four ate dinner together, the conversation flowing easily. For the first time, the penthouse felt truly alive with laughter and warmth. As they cleared the dishes, Ethan's phone rang. He frowned at the screen. "It's my father," he said before answering. "Hello, Richard." The others watched as Ethan's posture stiffened. His responses became short and formal. "Yes, I understand. That's not necessary. Fine. Goodbye." Ethan put down the phone, his face tense. "What did he want?" Luke asked. "He's coming to Chicago next week, wants to have dinner with me and Chloe." "Chloe?" Maya and Luke said simultaneously. "He doesn't know we broke up," Ethan explained, "and he won't be happy about it. Richard always liked Chloe, or more accurately, he liked her father's banking connections." "What are you going to do?" Maya asked. "I told him Chloe and I aren't together anymore. He said he's coming anyway to sort out this nonsense." His words. Luke groaned. Classic Richard. Flying in to fix problems that aren't problems. Later, after Luke and Nina left, Maya approached Ethan in his office. "I was thinking," she said hesitantly, "I should probably stay with Nina during your father's visit. It would be easier for everyone." Ethan looked up from his computer. "Is that what you want to do?" "No," Maya admitted, "but your father already sounds difficult. Finding me here will only make things worse." Ethan stood and walked around his desk. "I'm done hiding things to make my father comfortable. If you're willing, I'd like you to stay and meet him." "Are you sure?" "Completely sure." Ethan's voice was firm. "It's time he sees my life as it is, not as he wants it to be." Maya nodded slowly. "Okay, I'll stay." "He's not an easy person," Ethan warned. "He'll ask invasive questions, make judgments, try to control everything." "Sounds like my fourth foster father," Maya smiled slightly. "I can handle difficult men." Over the next few days, they prepared for Richard's visit. Maya helped Ethan anticipate his father's criticisms, and they practiced responses together. "He'll ask about the National Medical Supply deal," Maya said, role-playing as Richard. "Why did you give them such favorable terms?" "Because the long-term relationship is more valuable than short-term profit," Ethan responded. "Good," Maya nodded. "Now he'll say something about how that's not how he built the family fortune." Ethan laughed. "You're scarily accurate. How do you know what he'll say?" "Controlling people are predictable," Maya replied. "They all use the same tactics." As they worked together, Ethan found himself watching Maya more often. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear when concentrating, how she rested her hand on her belly when the baby moved. His feelings had deepened beyond friendship or obligation, though he wasn't ready to name what they had become. The night before Richard's arrival, Ethan's phone buzzed with a text from his father. "Landing early. We'll be at your place in 1 hour, bringing Chloe with me. This situation needs fixing." Ethan showed the message to Maya, his face pale. "He's bringing Chloe. Tomorrow." "What?" Maya's eyes widened. "How can he do that?" "That's Richard Williams for you," Ethan said grimly. "Always arriving early, always with a surprise attack." "What do we do now?" "We face them together," Ethan replied, taking her hand. "If you're still willing." Maya squeezed his hand. "I'm not going anywhere." Ethan and Maya spent the next hour preparing for Richard's arrival. Ethan changed into a formal suit while Maya wore her best maternity dress, a simple navy blue one Nina had brought from storage. "Should I make coffee?" Maya asked, smoothing her dress nervously. "Don't bother," Ethan replied. "My father will find fault with it no matter what. He's impossible to please." The doorbell rang exactly 45 minutes after Richard's text. Ethan took a deep breath before opening the door. Richard Williams stood in the hallway wearing an expensive gray suit, his silver hair perfectly styled. Beside him stood Chloe, looking triumphant in a red dress. "Ethan," Richard said coolly, walking in without waiting for an invitation. His eyes scanned the penthouse, noting every detail. "The place looks different, less organized." "Hello, Father," Ethan replied stiffly. "Chloe, this is unexpected." "Clearly," Chloe smiled, kissing Ethan's cheek. "But your father thought we should talk as a family." Richard's gaze landed on Maya, who stood near the kitchen, his eyebrows raised slightly. "And who might this be?" he asked, though his tone suggested he already knew. "This is Maya Johnson," Ethan said, moving to stand beside her. "Maya, this is my father, Richard Williams." "The pregnant houseguest I've heard about," Richard nodded. "Chloe has been quite informative." "It's nice to meet you, Mr. Williams," Maya said politely, extending her hand. Richard shook it briefly. "Indeed, and how exactly do you know my son?" Before Maya could answer, Ethan stepped in. "Maya is staying with me while she finds a new place. She's also helped me significantly with the National Medical Supply deal." "A business associate, then?" Richard's tone was disbelieving. "How unconventional." "Shall we sit down?" Ethan suggested, trying to control the situation. They moved to the dining room where Maya had set the table earlier. Richard took the head of the table without asking, while Chloe sat next to Ethan, placing her hand on his arm possessively. "I ordered dinner from Morton's Steakhouse," Ethan said. "It should arrive soon." "Good choice," Richard nodded. "Now let's discuss why I'm here. Chloe tells me you've been making some concerning decisions lately." "My decisions are my own, Father," Ethan replied. "And they're not up for discussion." Richard's cold blue eyes, so like Ethan's, narrowed slightly. "When those decisions affect the Williams name, they become my concern." Maya excused herself to get water, feeling uncomfortable. In the kitchen, she could still hear their conversation. "Ending things with Chloe was foolish," Richard was saying. "The Peterson banking connection would have been valuable for your expansion plans." "I didn't realize my relationship was a business transaction," Ethan replied sharply. "Everything is a transaction, son. I taught you that." The doorbell rang again. Dinner had arrived. Maya helped Ethan set out the food, trying to stay calm under Richard's scrutinizing gaze. As they ate, Richard questioned Maya directly. "So, Ms. Johnson, what exactly did you do before landing in my son's penthouse?" Maya put down her fork. "I worked for Swift Deliveries as a courier." "A delivery person," Richard repeated. "And your education?" "Community college. 2 years of business administration before I had to stop." "I see, and the baby's father." "Father," Ethan warned. "That's inappropriate." "I'm simply trying to understand the situation," Richard said smoothly. After all, Ethan seems to have taken on quite a responsibility. Maya straightened in her chair. The baby's father isn't in the picture, Mr. Williams. I'm handling things on my own. With my son's considerable help, it appears. When Maya excused herself to use the bathroom, Richard leaned toward Ethan. "End this mistake now," he said quietly but firmly. "Whatever charity project you think this is, it's gone too far. Chloe is willing to forgive your indiscretion. Return to a suitable relationship." "Maya isn't a charity project or an indiscretion," Ethan replied coldly. "Then what is she? A pregnant delivery woman with no prospects. What exactly do you see in this arrangement?" "I see someone intelligent, resourceful, and stronger than anyone I know," Ethan said. "Maya understands business operations better than half my executive team." Richard scoffed. "Don't be naive. She's using you for housing and financial support." "Actually," Chloe added, "my father heard an interesting rumor that Ethan has been taking her to doctor appointments. Playing the devoted partner already?" The tension in the room was broken by the sound of the front door opening. Luke walked in with Nina, carrying bags of takeout. "Surprise!" Luke called out, then stopped short, seeing the group at the table. "Oh, Dad, you're here already." "Lucas?" Richard nodded stiffly. "I wasn't aware you were invited." "Last-minute decision," Luke replied easily. "Hey, Maya. We brought that ice cream you've been craving." Nina set the bags down and introduced herself to Richard, who barely acknowledged her. She quickly went to find Maya in the bathroom. "Is everything okay?" Nina asked when she found her friend. "His father is exactly as awful as I expected," Maya replied, her hands shaking slightly. "He looks at me like I'm something stuck to his expensive shoe." "Luke and I are here now," Nina assured her. "We've got your back." When they returned to the dining room, Luke had already taken a seat next to Ethan, creating a buffer between him and Chloe. "I was just telling Dad about the National Medical Supply contract," Luke said cheerfully, "how Maya's insights about delivery protocols were the key to securing it." Richard looked skeptical. "I find that hard to believe." "It's true," Ethan confirmed. "Maya identified integration issues that our entire tech team missed. She's really smart," Luke added. "She's been helping Ethan reorganize his entire schedule. His productivity is up at least 20%. "Fascinating," Richard said coldly. "And what does Ms. Johnson get from this arrangement?" "A safe place to stay," Maya answered directly, "which I'm grateful for." "Just gratitude? How refreshing in today's world." Richard's sarcasm was unmistakable. Dinner continued with Richard making thinly veiled insults about Maya's background and status. Chloe occasionally added comments about her and Ethan's shared history, clearly trying to stake her claim. When dessert was served, Richard finally addressed what he saw as the main issue. "Ethan, your mother would be concerned about the choices you're making," he said, mentioning his late wife for maximum impact. "This situation with Ms. Johnson is inappropriate and potentially damaging to your reputation." "Don't bring Mom into this," Luke interrupted. "She would have loved Maya." "Lucas, you always were too soft-hearted," Richard dismissed him. "Business requires clear thinking, not emotional decisions." "Not everything is business," Ethan replied. "In our world, everything is." Richard looked directly at Maya. "I'm sure Ms. Johnson understands her unfortunate situation is temporary. Once the child arrives, more permanent arrangements should be made, perhaps a nice apartment in a different neighborhood." "That's enough," Ethan said, his voice rising. "You don't get to come into my home and disrespect Maya this way." "I'm simply stating facts," Richard continued. "A woman in her position—" "Her position?" Ethan stood up, his napkin falling to the floor. "Maya has worked harder than anyone I know. She's overcome more obstacles than you could imagine. And she's shown me more about real strength in 6 weeks than you have in 30 years. Richard's face hardened. "You're being irrational." "No, I'm finally being honest. You don't get to dictate how I live or who matters to me. Not anymore." Chloe tried to intervene. "Ethan, darling, you're upset. Let's all calm down." "We're done, Chloe," Ethan said firmly. "I've told you that repeatedly." Coming here with my father won't change anything. Richard stood slowly. I see this visit was premature. When you've come to your senses, call me. Don't wait by the phone, Ethan replied. With a cold nod, Richard walked to the door, Chloe reluctantly following after one last pleading look at Ethan. When the door closed behind them, the tension in the room finally broke. Luke let out a low whistle. That was intense, he said. You okay, bro? Ethan sat heavily in his chair. I should have done that years ago. You were amazing, Nina told him. Maya had been quiet during the final confrontation. Now she spoke softly. I'm sorry for causing problems between you and your father. You didn't cause anything, Ethan assured her. This fight has been brewing since I was 12 years old. Maya suddenly gasped, her hand going to her stomach. What's wrong? Ethan was immediately at her side. I don't know, Maya said, her face concerned. A really strong pain? She broke off as another pain hit. The baby? Luke asked, concerned. It's too early, Maya said, breathing rapidly. 4 weeks too early. Nina moved to Maya's side, helping her to the couch. How long between the pains? I don't know, a few minutes? Could be Braxton Hicks contractions, Nina suggested. False labor. I read about them in the pregnancy books. They timed the next contractions, 7 minutes apart, then 10, then irregular. After half an hour, they stopped completely. Definitely Braxton Hicks, Nina confirmed, relief in her voice. But it means the real thing isn't far away. You scared me, Ethan admitted, still holding Maya's hand. Join the club, Maya replied with a weak smile. I wasn't ready for that. After Luke and Nina left, promising to return tomorrow, Ethan brought Maya a cup of tea on the balcony. The night was clear, the lights of Chicago spread before them. Thank you for standing up to your father, Maya said quietly. No one's ever defended me like that before. He had no right to speak to you that way, Ethan replied, or to assume he knows anything about our situation. Our situation, Maya repeated thoughtfully. What exactly is our situation, Ethan? Before he could answer, Maya felt the baby kick strongly. Without thinking, she took Ethan's hand and placed it on her belly. Feel that? She asked softly. She's saying hello. Ethan's expression softened as he felt the movement under his palm. Hello back, little one. They stood close together, his hand on her stomach, the city lights twinkling below them. The moment felt intimate, significant. Maya, Ethan began, his voice low. These past weeks with you. A sharp click from the front door interrupted him. They turned to see Chloe standing in the entryway, her face twisting with anger at the scene before her. In her hand was a spare key, and in the other, her phone was raised, already capturing a photo of their intimate moment. What are you doing here? Ethan demanded, stepping in front of Maya protectively. How did you get in? Chloe waved the key triumphantly. You never asked for it back, and I'm glad I kept it. Now I have proof of what's really going on. She turned her phone to show them the picture she'd just taken. Ethan with his hand on Maya's pregnant belly, their faces close together in the soft balcony light. Get out, Ethan said, his voice dangerously quiet. And give me that key. Not until we talk, Chloe insisted. Your father may have given up tonight, but I haven't. Maya stepped back. I should go to my room. No, Ethan said firmly. You don't need to leave. Chloe does. Chloe laughed bitterly. This is exactly what I needed everyone to see. The great Ethan Williams, completely manipulated by a pregnant nobody. That's enough. Ethan moved toward her, hand extended. Give me the key and leave before I call security. Fine. Chloe slapped the key into his palm. But this isn't over. After she left, Ethan immediately called building security to revoke Chloe's access. Maya sat on the couch, her face pale. Are you okay? Ethan asked, sitting beside her. Just tired, Maya replied. It's been a long day. Neither mentioned the moment Chloe had interrupted, but it lingered between them as they said goodnight. The next morning, Maya woke early. She made coffee and toast, trying to maintain some normalcy after the previous night's chaos. She found one of Ethan's old Harvard t-shirts to wear. Most of her clothes were getting too tight as her due date approached. At 7:30, she heard the elevator ding. Maya assumed it was Luke or Nina, so she continued arranging breakfast on the kitchen counter. The door opened and Chloe walked in carrying a bag from an expensive bakery. She stopped short at the sight of Maya in Ethan's shirt. "Well," Chloe said coldly, "isn't this domestic?" Maya froze. "What are you doing here? Ethan revoked your access." "I brought breakfast for my boyfriend," Chloe replied, setting the bag down. "The doorman knows me. He didn't mention anything about revoked access." Ethan emerged from his bedroom, his hair still damp from the shower. He stopped when he saw Chloe. "How did you get in?" he demanded. "Your doorman James let me up, as he has for 2 years." Chloe's eyes narrowed at Maya. "I see you've made yourself completely at home. Nice shirt. Harvard looks good on you." "Chloe, you need to leave," Ethan said firmly. "Not until we talk." Chloe opened the bakery bag, arranging pastries on a plate as if she belonged there. "I brought your favorite croissants." "There's nothing to talk about," Ethan insisted. "No?" Chloe pulled out her phone. "What about these?" She showed them a series of photos. Maya entering the building on different days, Ethan and Maya shopping together, the two of them at the Art Institute. "You've been following us?" Maya asked, horrified. "I hired someone," Chloe admitted. "I knew Ethan was lying about you being his cousin. I just needed proof." "Why?" Ethan asked. "What's the point of all this?" "Because I deserve better." Chloe's perfect composure cracked. 2 years together, and you throw it all away for her? "Our relationship was over long before Maya arrived," Ethan said quietly. Chloe turned to Maya. "Do you know what he's giving up for you? Our families have planned our future for years. The Williams and Peterson names together could dominate Chicago business." "I never agreed to any of that," Ethan interjected. "You didn't have to. It was understood." Chloe's voice rose. "And now? I've been offered the marketing director position at Reynolds Media in Los Angeles. It's perfect timing for us to move together, start fresh." "Los Angeles?" Ethan repeated. "Yes, my father arranged everything. A house in Beverly Hills, membership at the right clubs." Chloe stepped closer to Ethan. "It's all waiting for us. We just need to end this charity case." Maya placed her hand protectively over her stomach. "I should go." "No," Ethan said firmly. "You're not going anywhere." Chloe looked between them, realization dawning. "Oh my God, you actually have feelings for her." The room fell silent. Maya stared at Ethan, waiting. "Yes," Ethan finally said, "I do." "You can't be serious," Chloe laughed incredulously. "She's a delivery girl, pregnant with another man's baby." "She's also the most genuine person I've ever known," Ethan replied. "Maya sees me, the real me, not my money or my family name." "This is ridiculous," Chloe spat. "Your father will disinherit you. I built my own company. I don't need his money. Your reputation, then. I've already told half our friends about your pregnant charity case. Everyone's talking. Let them talk," Ethan said calmly. Maya stared at him, shocked by his admission of feelings. "Ethan, you don't have to—" "Yes, I do," he interrupted. "I've spent my whole life making safe, practical decisions. Meeting you was the best unplanned thing that ever happened to me." Chloe's face hardened. "It's her or me, Ethan. Right now. Choose." The front door opened again. Luke and Nina walked in, stopping short at the scene before them. Bad timing?" Luke asked, looking from Chloe's angry face to Ethan and Maya's tense expressions. "Perfect timing," Chloe said bitterly. "You can witness Ethan throwing away his future." She turned back to Ethan. "Choose, Ethan. Right now. Her or me?" "I think I already have," Ethan said quietly. "You'll regret this," Chloe warned. "When the novelty wears off and you're stuck with her and some kid that isn't even yours." "I think you should leave." Nina stepped forward protectively. Gladly. Chloe grabbed her purse. But first, she took her phone and began typing furiously. Just sending a quick update to your father and our friends about your new relationship. Chloe, don't, Ethan began. Too late. Chloe tossed her phone back in her purse. She pulled out a small keychain. Here's your last key back. I won't be needing it in Los Angeles. She threw the key at Ethan. It hit his chest and fell to the floor with a small clink. Goodbye, Ethan, Chloe said, her voice suddenly sad. When this all falls apart, don't call me. She walked out, slamming the door behind her. The room fell silent. Luke let out a low whistle. Well, that was dramatic, he said. Nina moved to Maya's side. Are you okay? You look pale. Maya nodded slowly, then suddenly doubled over with a gasp of pain. Maya? Ethan was instantly beside her. Something's wrong, Maya managed through gritted teeth. She looked down in shock as liquid pooled on the floor beneath her. My water broke. But it's too early, Nina said, alarmed. You're only 34 weeks. The baby's coming now, Maya gasped as another pain hit. I'll get the car, Luke said, already moving toward the door. No time, Nina countered. Call an ambulance. The next 20 minutes passed in a blur of activity. Paramedics arrived, quickly assessing Maya before loading her into the ambulance. Ethan rode with her, holding her hand as contractions came faster and stronger. It hurts so much, Maya whispered, her face contorted in pain. You're doing great, Ethan assured her, though his eyes betrayed his fear. We're almost at the hospital. Northwestern Memorial Hospital's emergency entrance was brightly lit as they arrived. Medical staff immediately surrounded Maya, wheeling her inside with Ethan running alongside. Premature labor, 34 weeks, first pregnancy, a paramedic reported to the receiving doctor. A nurse stopped Ethan at the entrance to the examination room. Sir, you'll need to wait out here while we examine her. But I need to be with her, Ethan protested. Are you the father? The nurse asked. Ethan hesitated only a moment. Yes, please let me stay with her. The nurse relented, allowing him to enter the room where doctors were already examining Maya. Monitors beeped as they were attached to her belly. Baby's heart rate is dropping with contractions, one doctor announced, her voice concerned. We need to move to an operating room. What's happening? Maya asked, fear evident in her voice. Your baby is in distress, the doctor explained. We need to perform an emergency C-section. Everything accelerated. Maya was quickly prepped for surgery while a nurse handed Ethan scrubs to change into. Ethan, Maya reached for his hand, her eyes wide with fear. If something happens to me, promise you'll make sure the baby is okay. Nothing is going to happen to either of you, Ethan said firmly, though his voice shook. I'll be right there with you. A doctor approached, his expression serious. Mr. Williams, we need to move quickly. The baby's heartbeat is becoming irregular. I'm afraid you'll have to wait outside. But Ethan began. It's hospital policy for emergency situations, the doctor interrupted. The waiting room is down the hall. We'll update you as soon as possible. Maya was wheeled away, leaving Ethan standing alone in the hallway, still clutching the scrubs he hadn't had time to put on. Luke and Nina found him in the surgical waiting room an hour later. He sat motionless, staring at the wall. Any news? Luke asked, sitting beside his brother. Ethan shook his head. Nothing. They took her away and said they'd update me. That was over an hour ago. No news is good news, Nina offered, though she looked worried. They're focusing on helping Maya and the baby. What if something happens to her? Ethan's voice broke. What if I lose her before I even had a chance to really be with her? Maya is strong, Nina assured him. She's survived everything life has thrown at her. The hours crawled by. 1 hour became 2, then 3. Night fell outside the hospital windows. Luke brought coffee that Ethan didn't drink. Nina called Maya's former doctor for information about her medical history. At 2 o'clock in the morning, a surgeon in blue scrubs approached the waiting room. His face was unreadable as he walked toward them. Mr. Williams? the surgeon said. "I need to speak with you about Maya and the baby." Ethan stood, his legs unsteady. This was the moment he'd been dreading for hours. The surgeon's serious expression revealed nothing as he prepared to deliver news that would change everything. "Mr. Williams," the surgeon said, removing his surgical cap, "both Maya and the baby are stable now." Ethan's knees nearly buckled with relief. "They're okay? Both of them?" "The emergency C-section was successful. The baby is very small, 4 pounds, 3 ounces, but her lungs are functioning well for her gestational age. She's been taken to the neonatal intensive care unit for monitoring." "And Maya?" Nina asked, squeezing Ethan's arm supportively. "Ms. Johnson lost a significant amount of blood during the procedure. We had to perform a transfusion, but she's responding well. She'll be in recovery for a few hours before being moved to a private room." "Can I see them?" Ethan asked. "You can visit the NICU now. Ms. Johnson is still unconscious, but you can see her briefly in recovery." Luke hugged his brother. "Go, we'll wait here." A nurse guided Ethan through quiet hallways to the NICU. She instructed him to wash his hands thoroughly before leading him to a small incubator in the corner of the room. "Here she is," the nurse said softly. "Baby girl Johnson." Ethan stared at the tiny infant inside. She was smaller than he had imagined, with delicate features and a wisp of dark hair. Tubes and monitors surrounded her, making her seem even more fragile. "Can I touch her?" Ethan asked hesitantly. "Yes, through these openings in the side." The nurse showed him how to place his hands through the circular ports in the incubator. Ethan gently touched the baby's tiny hand with his finger. Immediately, her fingers curled around his. "A reflex," the nurse explained, but it felt like so much more to Ethan. "Hello, little one," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "You gave us quite a scare." "Does she have a name yet?" the nurse asked. Ethan realized they had never discussed names. "I'm not sure. Maya might have one chosen." "Well, she's a fighter, whatever her name is," the nurse said. "The doctor will be around shortly to explain her care plan." Left alone with the baby, Ethan continued to watch her small chest rise and fall with each breath. Something powerful and protective surged within him. "I promise you'll never be alone," he said softly. "I'll make sure you and your mom are always safe, always taken care of. I know I'm not your biological father, but if you'll have me, I'd like to be in your life." After 30 minutes with the baby, Ethan was allowed a brief visit to Maya in recovery. She lay pale and still, an IV in her arm and monitors tracking her vital signs. He took her hand gently. "The baby is beautiful, Maya," he told her, though he knew she couldn't hear him. "She's small but strong, just like you." Early the next morning, Ethan was dozing in a chair beside Maya's hospital bed when he felt her hand move in his. Her eyes fluttered open, confusion clouding them before recognition set in. "Ethan!" Her voice was raspy. "I'm here." He leaned forward, relief washing over him. "How do you feel?" "Like I've been cut in half." Maya winced. "The baby? Is she okay?" "She's doing great. Small but mighty. The doctors are amazed by her progress already." Tears filled Maya's eyes. "I haven't even seen her yet." "You will soon. They want to make sure you're stable first." Ethan squeezed her hand. "Do you have a name picked out?" Maya nodded. "Emma. It was my grandmother's name, the only family member who ever really cared about me." "Emma," Ethan repeated. "It's perfect." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment before Maya spoke again. "You stayed all night." "Of course I did." "Ethan, about what you said to Chloe yesterday, about having feelings for me." Ethan took a deep breath. "I meant it. These past months with you have changed everything. I know the timing is terrible. You just had a baby. Your life is complicated enough without adding my feelings to the mix, but I need you to know I've never felt this way about anyone." Maya's eyes filled with tears again. "I've been fighting it too. telling myself it's just gratitude or hormones or desperation, but it's not. "What is it then?" Ethan asked softly. "I think," Maya hesitated, "I think I'm falling in love with you. And it terrifies me." "Why?" "Because people like you don't end up with people like me. Because I have a newborn baby. Because I have nothing to offer you except complications." Ethan shook his head. "You've offered me more than anyone ever has. Honesty, perspective, a reason to be better. But I understand if you want to focus on Emma right now. We can take things as slowly as you need." Maya squeezed his hand. "I'd like that, taking it slow, seeing where this goes while I figure out how to be a mom." Later that day, a nurse brought Emma to Maya's room for their first meeting. The tiny baby was still connected to monitors, but she was stable enough for a brief visit. Tears streamed down Maya's face as she held her daughter for the first time. "She's so small," Maya whispered. "But strong," the nurse assured her. "Her vitals improve every hour." Ethan watched them together, feeling like an intruder on a sacred moment but unable to look away. Maya glanced up, catching his expression. "Come closer," she invited. "Meet Emma properly." He approached carefully, looking down at the tiny face. "She's beautiful, Maya." "Would you like to hold her?" Ethan hesitated. "I don't know how." The nurse showed him how to support the baby's head and body. When Emma was settled in his arms, something shifted inside him, a sense of rightness he couldn't explain. Over the next few days, Maya's hospital room became Ethan's temporary office. He set up his laptop on the windowsill, taking video calls while Maya rested. Luke and Nina visited daily, bringing flowers, comfortable pajamas for Maya, and news from the outside world. "The penthouse is too quiet without you two," Luke complained good-naturedly. "I actually miss Maya's constant organizing." Nina had taken a week off from teaching to help. "I've been researching premature baby care," she told Maya, showing her a notebook full of information. "Emma's going to have the most prepared mom ever." On the third day, a large package arrived, an expensive baby bassinet with a card signed simply Richard Williams. The note inside read only, "Family is family. Call when you're ready to talk." "That's his version of an olive branch," Luke explained. "It's something at least," Maya said, though she seemed unsure. As Maya grew stronger, she and Ethan began discussing practical matters. "The doctors say Emma might be in the NICU for 3 more weeks, Maya said, "and I'll be discharged in 2 days. "You'll come back to the penthouse with me," Ethan said immediately. "It's closer to the hospital for daily visits." "Ethan, we need to talk about the future, about what happens after Emma comes home." Maya looked serious. "I can't keep living with you indefinitely." "Why not?" The question was simple but loaded with meaning. "Because it's not a real solution. I need my own place, my own income." "What if—" Ethan hesitated. "What if I want you to stay? Not out of obligation or charity, but because I want you and Emma in my life." Maya studied his face. "Are you sure about that? A newborn baby is a huge responsibility. Sleepless nights, crying, diapers. I know it won't be easy," Ethan acknowledged, "but nothing worthwhile ever is." After 2 weeks in the NICU, Emma had gained enough weight to join Maya in her hospital room. The doctors were pleased with her progress, though she would need careful monitoring for the first few months. On a sunny morning 3 weeks after Emma's birth, Maya was preparing to leave the hospital. Ethan arrived with a car seat and a going-home outfit, a tiny yellow dress and matching hat. Luke and Nina decorated the guest room as a nursery, Ethan told her. "Nothing fancy yet since we didn't have much time." "Thank you," Maya said softly, "for everything." A nurse helped them secure Emma in her car seat. The baby, now almost 5 pounds, looked tiny but much stronger than when she was born. As they prepared to leave, Ethan pulled out a manila envelope. "What's this?" Maya asked. "Just some ideas," Ethan said nervously, "about our future, if you want to look at them." Inside were business plans for a new delivery company. one that would specialize in medical supplies and offer family-friendly policies for its employees. Second Chances Delivery, Maya read from the cover page. "Ethan, what is this?" "Your dream," he replied. "If you want it. I have investors ready to back it, with you as the CEO. I'd be a silent partner only." Maya stared at the papers, then at Ethan. "You did all this while I was in the hospital?" "I had time while you were sleeping." He smiled. "Say yes or no. It's completely your choice." Maya looked from Ethan to Emma, then back to the business plan. "Let's talk about it when we get home." The word home hung between them, full of possibility. As a nurse wheeled Maya toward the exit with Emma in her car seat, Maya noticed something that made her smile. "Look at her eyes when the light hits them," she said softly. "They look almost blue, like yours." "That's just a newborn thing," Ethan replied. "They'll probably change to brown like yours." "Maybe," Maya said, "but it's nice to think she might have something of yours, even if it's just in my imagination." They left the hospital together, not as the strangers they'd been that snowy December morning, but as something new, something still forming but full of promise. Spring sunshine filtered through the car windows as Ethan drove Maya and Emma home from the hospital. The city of Chicago looked different somehow, brighter, more alive. After 3 weeks of hospital walls, even the traffic on Lakeshore Drive seemed beautiful to Maya. "We're almost there," Ethan said, glancing at Maya in the passenger seat. She was watching Emma, securely fastened in her car seat, tiny fingers curled around the edge of her yellow blanket. When they arrived at the penthouse, Luke and Nina were waiting with a "Welcome Home" banner hanging in the entryway. The guest room had been transformed with a white crib, changing table, and rocking chair. "It's perfect," Maya whispered, cradling Emma as she looked around the nursery. Those first weeks passed in a blur of midnight feedings, pediatrician appointments, and learning to care for a premature baby. Ethan surprised everyone, especially himself, with his natural ability to soothe Emma during her fussy periods. "You're good at this," Maya told him one night as he walked the floor with Emma against his shoulder, patting her back gently. "I'm just making it up as I go," Ethan admitted. "But it feels right somehow." 3 months later, on a warm June morning, Maya woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows. For a moment she was disoriented until she remembered. They weren't in the penthouse anymore. 2 weeks earlier, they had moved into a house in Oak Park, a leafy suburb just west of Chicago. The 2-story home with its wide front porch and backyard was nothing like Ethan's sleek penthouse, but as he'd said when they first saw it, "This feels like a place where a family could grow." Maya slipped out of bed, careful not to wake Ethan. In the nursery across the hall, Emma was already awake, kicking her legs in the crib. "Good morning, sweet girl," Maya whispered, lifting her daughter. At 3 months old, Emma had already doubled her birth weight. Her eyes had indeed stayed blue, not brown like Maya had expected, and her dark hair was beginning to curl. Downstairs, Maya prepared coffee while holding Emma against her chest in a baby carrier. The kitchen was bright and open with family photos already displayed on the refrigerator. Luke and Nina at a Cubs game, Ethan holding Emma in the hospital, Maya cutting the ribbon at the official opening of Second Chances Delivery last month. Ethan appeared in the doorway, his hair rumpled from sleep. "You should have woken me. You were up late working on those contracts," Maya replied, handing him a coffee mug. "Besides, Emma and I were having girl talk." He kissed them both. Maya on the lips, Emma on her fuzzy head. These small domestic moments still surprised Maya sometimes. How quickly they had become a family. "Luke called," Ethan said, checking his phone. "He and Nina will be here around 4 for dinner." "Perfect. That gives me time to finish the presentation for tomorrow's meeting." Maya's company, Second Chances Delivery, had grown quickly in its first 2 months. Specializing in medical supply delivery, they had already secured contracts with 3 hospitals and a dozen private clinics. More importantly, they had hired 6 single parents as drivers, offering flexible schedules and benefits rarely seen in the delivery industry. Ethan had kept his promise to be a silent partner, Though his business contacts had been invaluable, he had stepped back from his CEO role at his own company, becoming chairman of the board instead. This allowed him to work mostly from home, often with Emma napping in the portable crib he'd set up in his office. "Have you heard from your father?" Maya asked as they ate breakfast. "He called yesterday." Ethan nodded. "Wants to visit next week. Says he has gifts for Emma." Richard's relationship with them remained complicated. After Emma's birth, he had made small attempts to reconnect, sending gifts, calling occasionally. He had even visited once, standing awkwardly in the hospital room, clearly uncomfortable but trying. "He's making an effort," Maya observed. "That's something." "A small something," Ethan agreed. "But yes, better than nothing." Later that afternoon, Luke arrived wearing a Chicago Bears t-shirt, carrying a tiny matching one for Emma. "Uncle Luke is here," he announced, immediately taking Emma from Maya's arms. "Ready for our chess lesson, kiddo?" "She's 3 months old, Luke," Nina laughed, following him with a casserole dish. "Maybe start with peekaboo." Luke had fully embraced his role as Emma's uncle, visiting at least twice a week with new toys or baby clothes. He and Nina had become a serious couple, recently moving in together into an apartment just 10 minutes away. They ate dinner in the backyard, taking advantage of the pleasant evening. As Luke entertained them with stories from his physical therapy practice, Maya noticed Ethan watching her with an intense expression. "What?" she asked when they were alone in the kitchen loading the dishwasher. "Nothing," Ethan smiled. "Just happy." The next day was Sunday. After breakfast, Ethan suggested they take a drive into the city. "I want to show Emma where we met," he explained, securing her car seat. "The hallway outside your penthouse?" Maya laughed. Not the most exciting first Chicago landmark to show her. "It's important to me," Ethan said simply. When they arrived at the Apex building, the doorman greeted them warmly. "Mr. Williams, good to see you, sir. And the little one, too." They took the elevator to the 45th floor. The hallway looked exactly the same. Plush carpet, elegant lighting, the small alcove by Ethan's former door where Maya had sat that snowy December morning. "Hard to believe it was only 7 months ago," Maya said, adjusting Emma in her arms. "Feels like another lifetime." Ethan nodded, looking at the spot where he had first seen Maya. Everything changed that day. "For the better, I hope," Maya smiled. "The best," Ethan agreed. He reached into his pocket. "Which is why I wanted to come back here, to this exact spot." Maya's breath caught as Ethan pulled out a small velvet box. He didn't kneel. He was holding Emma's diaper bag, but his eyes were serious as he opened the box to reveal a simple but elegant diamond ring. "Maya Johnson, finding you at my door was the best thing that ever happened to me. You showed me what really matters in life. You and Emma have become my family in every way that counts." He took a deep breath. "I love you. Will you marry me?" Tears filled Maya's eyes. "Are you sure?" "It's a lot to take on. Me, Emma, all of it." "I've never been more sure of anything," Ethan replied. "So?" "What do you say?" "Yes," Maya whispered. Then louder, "Yes." As Ethan slipped the ring on her finger, Emma cooed as if adding her approval. "I think she agrees with our decision," Ethan laughed, kissing his new fiancée. 9 months later, Emma's first birthday party filled their Oak Park backyard with an unlikely mix of guests. Nina's community college colleagues chatted with Ethan's business associates. Drivers from Second Chance's delivery shared cake with Luke's physical therapy friends. Maya watched it all from the porch, amazed at how their separate worlds had blended together. Emma toddled among the guests, now walking with the determined waddle of a 1-year-old. Her dark curls bounced with each step, her blue eyes, so like Ethan's, bright with excitement. "She's getting so big," a voice said beside her. Richard Williams stood awkwardly holding a large wrapped gift. His silver hair was precisely cut as always, but his usual stern expression had softened somewhat. "Thank you for coming," Maya said politely. Their relationship was still formal, but no longer hostile. "She's my granddaughter," Richard replied simply. "In every way that matters." Emma spotted them and made her way to the porch, arms outstretched. To Maya's surprise, Richard knelt down to the child's level. "Happy birthday, Emma," he said, his voice gentler than Maya had ever heard it. He offered the wrapped package, which Emma immediately began to pat with curious hands. After the party, when the guests had gone and Emma was asleep upstairs, Maya and Ethan sat on the porch swing watching the sunset. "I have something to show you," Maya said, pulling out a folder. "Plans for expanding second chances." Ethan looked over the documents. "Emergency housing for single parents in crisis?" Maya nodded. "Using part of our profits to renovate an old apartment building on the south side. 6 units to start, offering temporary housing for parents who've lost their jobs or homes." "It's brilliant," Ethan said, clearly impressed. "A true second chance." "I was thinking of someone who showed up at a stranger's door with nowhere else to go," Maya said softly. "Not everyone gets as lucky as I did." "Speaking of planning ahead," Ethan said, "I set up something too." He handed her a document from his own briefcase. "A college fund, not just for Emma, but for the children of all your employees." Maya stared at him, overwhelmed. "Ethan, that's incredible." "Just paying it forward," he shrugged. "We've been given so much." Inside their home, displayed in a shadow box frame in the living room, was Maya's teal plaid blanket, the one she had wrapped around herself that first morning at Ethan's door. They had kept it as a reminder of where they started. "1 year ago, I had nowhere to go," Maya said, leaning her head on Ethan's shoulder as they swayed gently on the porch swing. "And now we've both finally found our way home," Ethan replied, kissing the top of her head as the last rays of sunset painted the sky in shades of promise. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen.